This is Pop Culture Yearbook. On this show, we pick pieces of pop culture that were important to us in a given year. We then discuss our memories and dig into those movies, albums, shows, and more. I'm Brad.
And I'm Giff.
I'm looking at my little script here, and I noticed it still says I'm Pete on it.
Yeah, I was thinking, like, I always hear that before I come in. You know, it's just like, you know, in my heart, in my head, I hear, and I'm Pete.
Yeah, so we got well, it's the end of the year here. This is our last episode of the year, season 5. Well, actually, we're going to do one in January. Probably you should count those as season 5 too, but whatever. It's our last one of the year here. And we'll come back again, but we're still up in the air on Pete. So
yeah, well and I hope
where it goes.
I hope everybody had a wonderful Christmas, and look forward to a safe and happy New Year as well.
Yeah, well, good segue, because the movie we're going to talk about today talks about both. Actually, it's really the whole season. There's even Thanksgiving references in it too. So that's why a lot of people call it a Christmas movie, and I don't care if you do. Like, it's such a dumb argument. And I actually watched it the other day, of course. And I'm like, yeah, this is really, why wouldn't you watch this at Christmas? But it's, it's about the whole season, and the big climax ends on New Year's Eve. So, like, I don't put it on my Christmas movie list, but I don't care either.
Right. Well, yeah, because I mean, it did come out in June as well.
Is it a Christmas movie?
Well, it centers around Christmas. I mean, you've got, and the holiday season. I mean, you've got a Santa Claus outfit scene. You've got trees all over the place, and
there are a lot of trees.
Christmas party. You've got a New Year's Eve train that's absolutely nuts. You know, it's
New Year's Eve.
Yeah, so I mean, it's during the holiday season, of course.
Correct.
So
a holiday season movie.
Yeah, I mean, some people will say, a Christmas movie needs to revolve around the actual holiday of Christmas. There's got to be, something in there that's directly related. If it's during the holiday season, I would say you could. And
it's
there's
worth
a lot
watching
of imagery
during the holiday season. We'll just leave it at that. And that
absolutely.
movie is Trading Places, by the way.
Yes.
Starring Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd. But, speaking of Christmas movies, last night we watched Home Alone and Die Hard back to back. And I wish I should have had some paper out and been writing down all the similarities, because it's just crazy. And for people that say Die Hard's not a Christmas movie, it's like, cough, cough, Jim Butler. It's like, you're just wrong.
Well, and the guy, the Canadian movie crew,
yeah, him too.
You're just wrong. It has to happen on Christmas Eve for the Christmas party and the whole, thing to happen, so that it was planned specifically by Hans Gruber to happen on Christmas.
And that's why John's in town. He wouldn't be there otherwise.
He wouldn't be there otherwise. So Christmas is an integral part of the plot. So to me, that makes it a Christmas movie.
Anyway, you can go back and listen to our Die Hard episode and hear even more details about why it's a Christmas movie.
I did not watch Home Alone yesterday, but I did listen to 80s, 90s Recall, their episode of Home Alone last night while I was going to and from a friend's Christmas party. So very festive for me.
Yes. I've been listening to a lot of Christmas episodes. I've listened to our Christmas episodes from the past too when I had time. It's fun to go back.
Yeah.
All right. Trading Places, great holiday movie, just a great movie, period, in general. This is one of the best comedies, I think, of all time. I'm just going to say that right now, and we'll get into some details. I do not remember the first time I saw this. So this came out in 1983, and so obviously a little young. Now, I did see a lot of movies at that time, like, Vacation, and even, like, I've talked about Poltergeist, and R-rated movies and movies like that. But this is one, I don't know when I first saw it. I haven't maybe seen it quite as many times as others, although I've seen it a lot of times. But every time I watch this movie, I'm just amazed at how good it is. The actors, and it's such a cool story. It's kind of based on like a traditional type of story, but like you watch it now, and it's relevant to today. Like poor people and the place you're in life, and it's like it's crazy. But I heard a lot about this movie growing up from my brother, who loved it. My cousin in Sioux Falls had Eddie Murphy tapes, and so we would often go to there, and I was the youngest, and so everybody'd be out or whatever, and I'd be sitting in my cousin's bedroom listening to an Eddie Murphy tape, or he had a Beach Boys tape, or I'd be playing Pitfall on there in television. But that was kind of my introduction to Eddie Murphy. And I don't actually know if I watched this before or after I saw Coming to America. I would guess I probably saw it once before Coming to America, but I'm not 100% sure. But the two movies, to me, they just go hand in hand. They're both amazing, and the best things about Eddie Murphy right there. So can't tell you when I saw it, but I know I saw it in the 80s and loved it, and every time I watch it, I love it. GIF?
Yeah, I can't remember the first time I saw it either. This was never one that was high on my list for rewatch. So I've maybe only seen this movie.
Why is that?
4 to 5 to. I don't know.
I know.
I don't know.
Right?
It has all the things in it, right? I mean, it's got
weird.
Great actors with Aykroyd and Murphy and Bellamy and Ameche and
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Jamie Lee Curtis. You've got both of her boobs in it multiple times.
Yep.
You've got Paul Gleason, who I love in it. It's a fun story. I just don't know why this is not one that is always like one I went back to rewatch.
It is one that just like with our group, it never, I saw it a lot, but it was never one that like we talked about much together like we did with so many others. And I don't really know why. I guess it must have been just the timing of when it came out.
Yep.
But
Vacation's huge with us.
I know. But Vacation, I feel like that's a little different, especially when you have the sequels, because then you're going to keep.
Oh, sure.
You're going to keep that in the rotation probably. But anyway,
European Vacation always brings you back over and over and over again.
Well, but we saw it young, so then the vacation movies are a part of your thing.
Yeah, that could be, and we didn't have a sequel on this one. Of course, we had a little bit of a sequel in Coming to America with
and
the Dukes.
I'll just say right now, I watched Coming to America for the first time with my brother, and I think I mentioned this on our episode we did on it. But when that scene happened, maybe I hadn't seen Trading Places. Either that or I just didn't know it good enough. When that scene happens in Coming to America where he gives them that money, my brother died. He just flipped out and thought, oh my God, that's so funny. That's so great. Those are the guys from Trading Places. And so just that reaction was something that made me think, wow, I got to watch that movie either again or whatever.
Well, and I had watched this movie just because happened to see it on one of the services. So I watched this like a couple months ago. So even before, the holiday season was in full swing. And then of course watched it again yesterday in prep for this. So, I mean, I don't know why it's not one of those that's I always go back to over and over again because it's
like
great.
It then. It is. Okay.
Yeah.
Just check. Yeah. Maybe you didn't like it much.
No, there's a lot to hit on here.
Yeah.
That we'll get into.
All right, so it came out on June 8th of 1983, and the Rotten Tomatoes scores are 87 by critics and 85 by fans, so very high. And this is a movie that's on many, many top lists. It's on top lists of comedy movies of the 80s. It's on top comedies overall. It's also ranked on many Christmas movie lists, so a lot of people do consider it a Christmas movie. And it deserves to be on every one of those lists. It was a $50 million budget and made $90 million and became the fourth highest grossing movie of the year. So
$90 million domestic, right? $120 million overall, yeah.
And so it wasn't maybe seen as going to be a big hit, and we'll get into the casting, but it obviously was. Can you name? I don't know if you looked it up or wrote it down. What are the three movies that finished ahead of it in 1983?
Yes, I did write that down. So that was
one's obvious.
The Return of the Jedi. Pop Culture Yearbook does have a episode on Return of the Jedi. Terms of Endearment and Flashdance.
Yeah, which those two really surprised me. That was
and number 10. What was number 10 that year? Another one we've done an episode
1983. Well, I don't know. Was it Vacation?
No, it was Risky Business.
Oh yeah, yes, we have Risky Business out there. Like that movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like I remember hearing Flashdance a lot as a kid. I can't believe it was that big of a hit. Like that's ginormous.
The music was enormous for that. Yeah, really good. And that was one that, again, I didn't really get into, as early as it came out in my life. I mean, I've seen it, 2-3 times, but
I don't think I've ever seen it.
Oh, really? It's worth a watch. I mean, it's,
it's one that I remember being on, like on HBO when I was a kid, but like that one I felt like I couldn't watch or wasn't allowed to watch. Like it seemed more racy. So,
sexy. Yeah, there's some sexy dancing going on. Yeah. Well, it's never too late.
Trading Places was never actually number one at the box office, but it spent 17 weeks in the top 10. It was just a consistent little freight train going down the line.
Well, and you think that, you know, this is Murphy's second movie after 48 Hours. So Aykroyd obviously is a name coming off of SNL, but he had kind of some flops leading up to this.
Let's get into that right now. So
yeah,
it was actually written for who?
It was written for Pryor and Wilder.
Yeah, which is not surprising when you think about it. But that kind of got put off because Richard Pryor set fire to himself while freebasing cocaine. And so he wasn't really available.
What you want to do every once in a while while you're freebasing.
That's the 80s right there. That's classic 80s. So they weren't even wild about casting Eddie Murphy, which kind of shocks me. He was too unknown. He was. 48 Hours wasn't released yet when they were doing this.
Yeah, Landis didn't know of him.
Yeah, he didn't have that hit. He obviously was big on SNL, but they didn't have that movie hit. So they weren't too sure. And Aykroyd, as you said, they thought not only did he maybe have a couple movies that didn't do so great, but they thought he was like a team with John Belushi. And maybe he needed John Belushi to be effective. But then like in this case, like he is a team in this case. So
he's always a team. Like when we'll get into our top 5 tonight, and Aykroyd is on a lot of mine.
He's got some good ones.
You know, but it's always with somebody else, you know, and that's great because we love
Except
Dan
for Dr.
Aykroyd.
Detroit. I'm a big fan of Dr. Detroit.
Don't know that one. Maybe that's why.
That's one that came out right before this. It wasn't a big hit.
Yeah. So I mean, he is obviously great, but at this point in both of their careers, neither one of them were real hot.
Yeah. And so this really set them off for the rest of the decade.
Well, and you think like if you're sitting in the office, putting this production together, and you're like, all right, we're thinking Pryor and Wilder, you know, they're huge. Well, what do you think about Aykroyd and Murphy? Like that's going to fall flat, you know, in the meetings, right?
They're TV guys.
Right. Yeah. So it's like, I don't know if we're going to do that. So I kind of understand it based on where they were, but yeah, awesome pairing. I mean, obviously wonderful movie.
Worked out. And on top of that, then Jamie Lee Curtis was basically just known as a scream queen from her horror movies. And so she was not considered somebody they really wanted to put in a movie either. But she's great. And she obviously, this is a huge movie and moving her forward to her next rest of her career.
Correct. Yeah, the studio wasn't real crazy about her, as you said. But then they said, well, you know, she'll be topless. And then the studio's like, oh, okay, well, then we'll be interested in seeing that. You know, so
it's the 80s.
Then they were okay putting her in there. Is like, she is great in this movie. She's unbelievable. So yeah,
my
it's
favorite.
A great transition for her from the horror movies. And I read that she was paid $1 million for Halloween 2 that came out right before this, and she was paid $70,000 to be in this movie.
It's like a prove it.
Like, holy cow.
But my favorite story of these actors cast in this movie is Don Ameche. So he hadn't had a role in over 10 years. Like, and I was surprised to learn that. Because, like, growing up in the 80s, like, I knew Don Ameche. I knew him from this movie and Cocoon and, you know, whatever else he was in. But somebody brought him up and they go, isn't he dead?
Well, cross him off then.
Yeah. And so they thought he was dead. And then somebody said, and this is so hilarious because, you know, there's no internet and all that. Somebody's like, no, I think I've seen him walking down Hollywood Boulevard before. Like, like this is how you know if somebody's alive back then.
Right.
So they had to track him down and they found him and they put him in it. And then, of course, this brought him back and he actually won an Oscar for Cocoon 2 years later. But like, that's just hilarious to me. I think he's dead.
Right. Yeah, because all his royalty checks for movies were going to his son. You know, he had backed away. He basically said, well, nobody was giving me movie roles anymore. He'd done TV roles, like just little one-offs here and there through that decade, but he hadn't starred in any movies. And yeah, Landis actually went to directory assistants and asked for a D. Ameche. And here we are. They found him and they put him in the movie. And I mean, the rest is history. He's outstanding.
Yeah, and he's great. I mean, the casting of those two old guys is a big part of the movie. They are awesome together. They're a comedy team.
Well, and there, Ameche, religious guy, he's not, and he's very prim and proper. He didn't like having to swear.
Yeah.
He said, I'll do it once. You better get it on the first take. I'm not doing that. He didn't obviously like
he's
saying
the one that had to use the N-word in it.
He didn't like using the N-word. So that was the thing. Like, he's the bigger douche in the movie. And that's the guy they put him in that role. It's like, oh my God, worse. Why not let him be the nicer of the two, Randolph, rather than Mortimer? But yeah, Morte, Randy. So, but yeah, great casting for these guys. I did read that there was one guy who they approached to play the role, and he would only do any role that was within 7. Otherwise, he wasn't going to take any movie roles. It's like, okay, well, and he's an English actor, so that really wasn't going to work out. So
yeah, it was a huge hit, and maybe you didn't expect it to be, but it revitalized careers, it set careers off, and it was nominated for awards. One of the first things I wrote down, even before I had looked this up, is I love the music. I love the score at the beginning, the orchestra. It just makes it sound so, I don't know.
Hoity-toity?
But it just fits, and it gets you in a mood, and it won the Oscar, or it didn't win. It was an Oscar nominated for the score, sorry.
Yep, and it was this movie was also nominated for Golden Globes for Best Comedy, and Murphy
and Eddie Murphy
was nominated for actor in a comedy.
So, and it was critically acclaimed right off the bat too. It was it's just an awesome movie. So we've already got into a lot of the cast. Let's go through the rest. I think first of all, we just get back to Dan Aykroyd. He is perfect in this role. At the entitled douche, man, he plays that so great.
Snooty is what I described him as. Just perfectly, his nose is up just a little bit, like this, in the beginning when they come out of the house to go to work, and he just stands by the car because he can't let himself into the car.
Did you compare that to something else that we watched just talked about tonight here?
Oh man!
Oh, I thought beginning with the way he's treated is very similar to Prince Akeem in Coming to America.
Course. Yes,
everything is done for him. Everything is just. He's getting shaved. He's getting breakfast served in bed. He's getting dressed. He's pampered. The way everybody just says "Good morning, Mr. Winthorpe." It's very much Prince Akeem like, only with a regular guy.
Well, a little less than the tub though. But who knows? Maybe they just didn't show the tub scene. Yeah. So.
Well, he wouldn't. He doesn't have that because he's got Penelope.
Right. And Coleman's probably not going to get in there with him.
No. Right. So we got Dan Aykroyd. We got Eddie Murphy. We'll talk a lot more about him. He's fantastic. Denholm Elliott plays Coleman, the butler, and he's in Indiana Jones. I love that guy. He's another just perfect cast.
Yeah. Absolutely. I love him in Indiana Jones as well. He's just the way he carries himself, and he kind of speaks like short little staccato words I just like. And
he's
at the same time,
he's so English and proper, but yet I love he's got some under the radar, under his breath comments, and then at the end he teams up with them, which I love that. Like he's a good guy, and you can tell all along. And but he's nothing. He is powerless. Again, this movie, the themes about the power and the money and everything. It's there's nowhere he can go.
Yeah.
Then we have Kristen Holby playing Penelope, and my goodness, is she a smoke show?
My word. Yeah, she is absolutely gorgeous.
And she is an interesting case because you look at her, and she's good in the movie, and she is just amazing to look at. She was only in 2 movies. She made this movie, and she made Manhunter in 1986, and she basically just never did anything else. Like, what's up with that? And she looks familiar because of this movie, but you look at her and you think, well, I must have seen her in something else, and you look it up, and there's nothing out there.
Wow.
Unless you saw Manhunter.
Right.
Which is a good movie.
And her character is great because, again, you're at the top end of society here, and as soon as there's a blip, she's gone.
And she's kind of hinting at it all along too. Like there's this Todd in the background that she's Todd's.
They're always, except for my cousin Todd. Cousin Todd, you're awesome. But other than that,
because my brother's name is
your
Todd.
Brother Todd.
That's the joke.
Yes, we love Todds.
But in this movie, my brother, he loved it so much because he was always rooting for Todd and the frat boys.
Well, yeah, he was trying to get on Penelope. I would root for that too.
Yeah, wow. We also have Don Ameche and Ralph Bellamy, which I don't know if he said Ralph Bellamy's name yet or not, but they are Mortimer and Randolph, and they are fantastic.
Yeah.
We have Paul Gleason, your favorite, Clarence Beeks. Just saw him last night in Die Hard.
Yes, you did.
Once again, playing just a jerk. Has he ever not been a jerk?
No, not that I know of.
None
I'm
of the
trying to think.
ones.
Johnny Be Good, he was a jerk in. Jerk in Die Hard.
The Breakfast Club.
Although I don't know. He's way down the list for jerks in Die Hard, in my opinion. Because then you got the FBI guys come in, and they're worse than him. Obviously,
they are
Hans's
worse than
crew
him.
is worse than him.
The way he treats,
John
Reginald Vell Johnson, and he's an idiot, kick ass.
But he's down the list a ways in Die Hard for me. But I just think he's great in everything.
He's not as bad as Thornburg either. That's the other one.
Yeah.
All right, we have Jamie Lee Curtis kind of making her, non-horror starring debut, and she's great. This is, of course, directed by John Landis, who has done so many of our favorite movies, and in a lot of controversy. And him and Eddie Murphy had a very complicated history, and teamed up again in Coming to America, and it didn't go well. Movie's great, but the two of them did not go well. So he's a complicated guy, but man, did he make some bangers.
Yes, he certainly did.
And then we have a bunch of good cameos too. So Bo Diddley pops up in the pawn shop, just out of nowhere. You got Jim Belushi, young Jim Belushi is the gorilla, not the real gorilla, but the fake gorilla on New Year's Eve. I love Al Franken and Tom Davis, the two bumbling gorilla handlers. So if you don't know, first of all, Al Franken is a U.S. Senator from Minnesota, but him and Tom Davis, they were writers and they were on SNL forever, and they're hilarious.
Yeah.
Total bumbling dummies.
It's my turn to drive. No, you drove this morning. They are just great, just absolute idiots. You got Giancarlo Esposito.
Yeah.
In this.
I didn't notice him. I'd have to watch it again. I found that again yesterday, that he's in the cell when Eddie's in jail.
Yep. Yeah, when he's being the karate man.
I got to watch that again.
I got Robert Earl Jones and also the gentleman who played Ezra. They, for me, both of them are in The Sting. So, lesser known characters in this, but love them both.
And then my other two favorites, they're not actually cameos. They don't even have real names. But they, in the credits, they are credited as Big Black Guy and Even Bigger Black Guy. They're the two guys in jail that don't believe Eddie Murphy, and the one, all he ever says is, yeah. That was one of my favorite things about this movie when I first saw it, being younger, was the yeah.
You're right.
And it still is.
Yeah. Well, and you also got Frank Oz and Eddie Jones as two of the cops. Eddie Jones, I know him from A League of Their Own. That's Marla's dad. But Frank Oz, I love because he's inventorying Dan Aykroyd's stuff when he's being booked. And, of course, that was also the scene from Blues Brothers with Frank Oz when he's checking out John Belushi and the Blues Brothers. So same sort of scene, which is awesome.
All right. Well, you got any more fun facts or cast?
I got Timothy Harris as the writer. He also wrote Twins, Brewster's Millions, and Pure Luck. So
this is definitely his highlight then.
Writing team. Oh, come on, Twins!
Yeah,
love Twins. Okay, fair enough.
I'm guessing Brewster's Millions is probably the second best of those for me, but whatever.
You don't like Marty Short and Pure Luck?
I don't think I ever watched it. It just looked pretty stupid. But I know what you're talking about. Him all blown up.
Yes.
I mean, that's what everybody would know if they know anything about the movie.
Yes. great stuff. Okay.
All right. Well, let's run through. A lot of the things I wrote down we've hit on. Not a lot of the quotes, but a lot of the things that I had here. So I started with we first meet Winthorpe and the Dukes and talked about how Aykroyd's life is just a joke. The way he's treated and everything.
You're watching the opening credits here, and of course, we're obviously in Philly, right?
Like lots of Philadelphia scenes.
They show the Liberty Bell, and then we cut to Winthorpe getting ready, and I just made, because you've got Coleman, making his breakfast and, setting all his stuff out, and I just made a comment that this is what it's like for my son in the morning as I make his breakfast before he gets up, and then I go knock on his door, and, time to get up, and, I don't pick out his clothes or anything, but yeah, I was thinking a little bit of Coleman. And do you really have to wear the chef's hat while you're making the breakfast? I didn't know that, because I don't have one of those.
I guess it helps you understand what's happening in the plot.
I suppose, but I don't know if the chef's hat is necessarily needed. But then the other thing too is when Winthorpe gets to his office, there's a fire already burning in the fireplace. Like I burn wood every day. Like, you got a wood guy that comes and starts the fire in your office every day before you come in.
He's going to get his hands dirty? That's ridiculous.
That's high end right there. An actual fireplace in your office going.
So my favorite part of this, though, is we get a lot of douchiness from Dan Aykroyd, but you really get a little sense of the Dukes right off the bat. So Ezra is what is Ezra?
Ezra's just one of the waiters at the
he's a staff
club.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just staff.
So he gets a Christmas bonus from them, and it is a $5 bill. And his line is so great. Well, maybe I'll go to the movies by myself.
Yeah.
And then it was Don Ameche who goes, half of it is from me, Ezra.
Right. Yeah. He's got to put that in there to show that, one, it's great because it shows that, one, he wants to be included. He doesn't want Ezra to think that he didn't give anything.
Because it was handed by Ralph Bellamy.
Right. And two, it is such a small amount. I mean, I think I looked it up. I think it'd be like $14 today.
Yeah.
And Ezra's waiting hand and foot on these guys. These guys are at the club probably every day. And yeah, you get $5 at the end of the year.
Then we transition and we get to meet Billy Ray Valentine, Eddie Murphy outside. And I mean, I just got quotes written. Everything he says is hilarious. So he's faking that he is blind and his legs don't work on one of those little carts that you use in Fayed in gym class in elementary school.
Yeah, little dolly. Yep.
And he's asking for money from people because he's a homeless blind man with no legs.
Vietnam vet as well.
I ain't seen nothing since I stepped on that landmine in Viet Cong in 1972. So the cops are on him, and they actually pick him up to try to prove, and his legs drop, and he can stand, and he's like, I could see, I have legs, what a happy day.
As he walks away just screaming the whole time and thanking them, they're amazing, and, yeah.
So then
oh my God.
He bumps into Dan Aykroyd, and really, you talk about how bad the Dukes are, but Dan Aykroyd sets the entire thing into motion because they bump into each other just accidentally. His bag falls, and Billy Ray picks it up to give it back, and that's all he's doing. Mm-hmm. And Aykroyd immediately looks at him and thinks he's robbing him, and he makes a big stink, and so the cops come, and he chases him through, and this is my other favorite scene as a kid. They chase him through the whole house, and at the end, he ends up on the floor, on his back, and there's about 20 guns pointed within 2 inches of his face. Is there a problem, officers? So he goes to jail, and he didn't do anything wrong, and Dan Aykroyd that's like the worst thing in the whole movie, really, is what he did.
Yeah, I just wrote down he's a complete wuss, and he kind of deserves what he gets, in my opinion. Like, you need to be knocked down about 20 pegs in your life.
Yeah, well, it is a learning experience for him in the movie.
Right, to get back to being a decent human being. I would like to go back to a line in the at the club when Aykroyd shows up and he's got the payroll checks for the Dukes to sign. And Ameche, Mortimer, says, it seems like we're paying some of our employees a lot of money. And Winthrop comes back with, Can't get around that old minimum wage. I can't believe they have to actually physically sign all the payroll checks. That doesn't seem like a lot of payroll checks for a huge corporation like Duke and Duke.
Different time.
Yeah.
So then we learn about how evil the Dukes are. So they have this ongoing discussion, you can tell, about nature versus nurture, which is really the whole movie.
Right.
And that it's Randolph, right? Is Ralph Bellamy?
Yep.
Yeah. Randolph thinks that everything is determined by your place in life and your surroundings. And that if they could take this guy that just got arrested and they could put him into
a better situation.
What's Dan Aykroyd's name? Sorry.
That's Winthrop.
They could put him into his situation and he would be successful and be a better person. And if they did that, Winthrop would turn to a life of crime. And it's a whole bet that they have. And so this is an evil bet because they're going to upend two people's lives. Because even though Eddie Murphy's going to reap the benefits for a while, he's not going to get to stick around and do that.
Mm-hmm.
And so they have this thing and they go to talk to Eddie Murphy. They bail him out. And another great line right off the bat is they're so excited to meet him. and Randolph goes, "You're from a broken home, of course. A history of juvenile arrests." And he's like all excited, like, "Oh, this is your surroundings where you came from. You're just what we're looking for." And again, Don Ameche, of course, there's something wrong with him. He's and they don't use the N word here,
right?
But they use the more accepted version, which I'm not even going to say because I don't want to get.
No, please don't. Please don't.
But it's they say it back then. But it's just that shows what they think of him. That's all. You're a black guy, you're poor, you're terrible, and there's nothing that you can do. But Randolph believes that if they change all that and give him the right surroundings, that he will be okay.
Well, and that's why Mortimer is the worst of the two, because his argument is it's all nature. So, Winthrop comes from generations of good breeding, as he says, just like racehorses.
Genes.
So that's where it all comes from. Either if you're born high, you're going to stay there. But if you're basically just lesser than, you'll always be lesser than. You can never improve your station in life. So that's why they're both horrible people, but if you're going to, I'd rather hang out with Randy than Morty.
Randy.
So, yeah. So
like Randy Jackson from the Jackson 5.
This storyline came from the writer. He would play tennis with this pair of brothers that were very, very rich, and they would always bet on things and just awful things, and they were two horrible people. So this is where this storyline came from, was from the writer playing tennis with these rich brothers that would kind of do the same sort of thing.
Yeah. So we meet a couple other characters. We already mentioned Penelope, who is Aykroyd's girlfriend, and wow, that's all I'll say about her.
Well, and that's the other thing too. This is how douchey Aykroyd is. He's recounting the story, and saying how brave that he was.
Oh yeah. And Coleman is just sitting there and just rolling his eyes.
Yeah.
And there's a scene where he, under his breath, goes, "What a scumbag!" That's where you kind of learn that Coleman, he's not in with these people.
Well, I think that's when one of the Dukes called him in the kitchen right after that dinner and kind of laid it out for him, like, "Hey, we're going to do this." They have to
tell him what the plan is because he has to be part of it.
So have you read anything about who they did this to before? Because the Duke said, "We've done it before." And when that phone call goes on with Coleman, he was kind of seemed like he was like, "Oh God, we're going to do this again." So I couldn't find anything about
I don't know
who supposedly done to this before. So I don't know. I didn't know if you saw something.
Yeah. But before Eddie gets bailed out, we see him in the jail cell, which is one of my other favorite scenes. I'm going to say a line and then you go after me. "It ain't cool being no jive turkey so close to Thanksgiving."
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. Those two guys are just great. But you mentioned Eddie's got this whole thing. He's talking about karate and how he bruises on the inside and all this.
Kind of bruise on the inside.
It's just nonsense.
Yeah. Well, you came in here crying. Well, that's because they threw tear gas at me. And that's for a whole crowd. And he was just
He's got an answer for everything.
He's laying it down. And those other three guys that are around him are just eating it up. He's talking about, and he's going through a little demonstration of his karate and doing the whole thing, and they're eating it up. And these two huge dudes are just, they're not buying it. So they lift him up. And of course, that's right in the moment when the cop comes to get him. I just love how he's yelling like backwards through the bars, like, you don't know who you're messing with up in cell block cell 4 on the 9th floor. Yeah, it's just great. And then, of course, he gets bailed out right at the exact moment he needed to before he got absolutely killed.
So he gets taken back to Dan Aykroyd's house with the
Dukes.
The Dukes, and gets pampered and learn all these things. And of course, he's very, very suspicious. Like, why is this happening? Mm-hmm. We also get a couple of classic 1980s Eddie Murphy F slurs as well here. One of the other things that, of course, wouldn't be considered aging well.
Nope.
But that's one of the ways he's suspicious of these guys.
Because they put him in a tub.
They show him the tub, and they show him how you can turn on the jets. And he's like, oh, when I was young, we had a fart in the tub to have bubbles. But there's a great, you break the fourth wall a couple times where he looks in the camera. It's just fantastic. But learning about the job and the house, and they talk to him like he's like 5 years old, and it's pretty. That's funny too. Just the whole interaction with the way they treat him and the way he, obviously doesn't need to be talked to quite like that.
Well, and they're going to start him out at $80,000 a year, which in today's money would be about $265,000. So, I that's still going to be pretty low for, a guy at a commodities broker firm, I'm sure. But, hey, I'd take it.
Well, if you're Eddie Murphy, if you're coming from nothing, that's huge.
Absolutely.
So he ends up having a party. He meets those two big black guy and even bigger black guy at the bar. And, they're about to fight him again because they don't believe any of his story. But he actually has a limo out front. And he's got everything he said, and they just love the party he has. And my other favorite line as a kid was always, haven't you people ever heard of coasters?
Right. That scene at the house is one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie. Because he goes from being, the guy who wants to show off, because now he's finally got something. And it's not a little something, it's a lot. So he shows back up at his neighborhood bar. Of course, the bartender, he owes $27 to, so he pays that off and buys champagne for everybody. So he's big time in everything. Like, all right, and then, let's go back to my place. And as soon as they get to his place, he's running around just pissed at everybody. Like, who's putting their cools out on my rug? Like, that's a Persian rug. And he's just pissed. It's so great how quickly he kind of turns from being, the loudmouth party guy to, hey, this is my stuff. Quit.
Well, it's probably out of fear, too, that he thinks if he ruins it all, that they're probably going to kick him out.
Oh, I never got that. I thought at that point he's owning
part of it.
He's owning this whole situation. He's top of the world. He's top dog. And if anybody offends him or does something he doesn't like, to hell with you. So, yeah, I thought it was great.
Yeah, so he kicks them all out. And then we see, and so the Dukes, to make this plan work, so they have to get Dan Aykroyd arrested, and they plant drugs on him, and they create this whole fake thing where he stole money. And it's horrible. And so he ends up in jail. Yep. And then Penelope is waiting there, and I love this dude that's sitting next to her on the bench. Is that your purse? And he's just up in her face, and she just, of course, she's so proper, she can't even stand to be in the area of these people.
Yeah. This was Penelope's shining moment for me, because she actually shows up for him. She sits there in the cop shop with these undesirables all around her, and she's waiting for him. And then, of course, he comes out and he stinks.
But she sees what he looks like, and
And then she starts, she's like, "Oh, this is awful. This is horrible." But out on the steps, she was almost right there. She was going to take him back, and he was going to be okay. But Beeks has got another plan.
These are some great lines by Dan Aykroyd here. So when she looks at him and talks about him stinks and everything, he goes, "Do you realize where I've been since yesterday? Those men wanted to have sex with me." He points back. And then he meets Jamie Lee Curtis outside, and they talk about him hustling her, and he goes, "Hustling you? Hustling you?" He's so just flabbergasted by it.
Well, and like you say, the way he speaks is so uppity, right? Like,
and he's trying to hold on to all that, even though he looks like just trash right now.
Right? Yeah. Ophelia, so he's on this. Beeks gives Ophelia, Jamie Lee Curtis's character, $100 to basically go up and kiss Dan Aykroyd, get all over him, ask for drugs because, of course, he had the PCP planted on him, and to really drive a wedge between Penelope and Winthorpe, so that she's now he's disconnected from everything and everyone that he knows. The best person in this movie may very well be Ophelia. She takes him in.
Yeah, she is.
And he gets sick, and she takes care of him, nurses him back to health, gets him back, and gives him a place to live.
I don't think there's any doubt that she's the best person in the movie.
I mean, she's got her own motives as well, right? Like, she has, stowed away all this money, and
that says something too about her. Like, she's doing, but she has a plan and has a future, and she's not going to be, she's got stuff going on.
3 more years on her back, and she can retire.
I mean, you could say Coleman's a really good person too, but he does. He doesn't have to work for the Dukes. Like, he could try to do something about it. So I put
and Ophelia, she's outside of the Duke's reign along, so yeah, I think she's probably the best character in here, and she's got a couple other assets that I really admire as well.
Yeah, so, there's something.
Yeah, they are.
Then of course now Billy Ray has to learn how to, what commodities are and how to do the job. And they talk about orange juice and this bacon, like you might find in a bacon, lettuce, and tomato sandwich. And that's where he looks at the camera.
He looks at the camera. Yep.
God, that's so great.
I got to tell you, I didn't mind this being the idiot that I am. I needed this breakdown.
Oh, you do. And even at the end, though, you still have no idea what happens at the end. I've read about how that all happens at the end, and I still can't follow. It's so complicated and just crazy.
Right. Yep.
But yes, it does help. The little primer there on commodities trading. You learn a little bit there.
Yes. Thank you for that. I'm glad they put that in there.
So Billy Ray ends up saving them a whole bunch of money right away on pork bellies. And then Mortimer tries to catch him in a thief moment, and he picks up this money clip and gives it back. And which makes Randolph just laugh at Mortimer, like, how could you do that? My guy is going to win this.
Yep.
Lewis is still out trying to get his life back together, so he shows up to her all at the club, and these frat guys are singing to these girls. I'm assuming they were all frat guys. Yeah. And this, oh my God, it's so pathetic how this lifestyle that these people have. And what's the name of the girl they're singing to at the end?
Constance Fry.
Constance Fry. And the girls are just eating it up. It's like, oh, God.
Well, I love when he comes in and Penelope goes, "We don't want any of your drugs here."
They're probably all on cocaine all the time. Is probably the deal.
Yeah, well, they need the good stuff, not the stuff that's been, cut up a million times and sold, so they want the good stuff.
So he goes there thinking he has friends and somebody to support him, and none of them will even listen to his story, and so he's left with nothing, and that's how he ends up again. Back with Ophelia more.
Mm-hmm. Right.
All right, maybe jumping ahead a little bit. Now we have our big Christmas part of the movie. We have the Christmas party, and we kind of reveal the bet. There's a scene, so Aykroyd looks just like hell again. He's wearing that Santa suit, which looks like it's been...
Where do you find that thing?
Laying in mud for the last 10 years.
Yes.
But he runs screaming through the party with the gun at the end, and that's where it reminded me of Carl in Die Hard, like just screaming through the crowd.
Yeah, I love how he's just shoving stuff in his pockets.
The whole salmon into his coat.
Into his coat, and then afterwards on the bus, eating it through his beard.
That might be the most disgusting thing in any movie. It's so bad. And it's a cold salmon at that point, and yet his beard is in it.
Yeah, it's so bad. And just shoving stuff in his pockets. What else is in those pockets? I don't know where he procured these drugs from, or if they were actual real drugs that he's trying to plant in Billy Ray's office.
Oh, yeah, so he's trying to get Billy Ray to get caught now. They're not a team yet. But the evil plan is then revealed when he's in the bath. Or no, it's Eddie Murphy. It's Billy Ray in the bathroom and overhears the Valentines. And we find out the bet was worth how much?
$1. $1.
And the whole thing is just for pride, basically. But this is where you get the N-word where Mortimer says, I would never let and run my company. And so you know that no matter how good he's done, he's been amazing at the job. They're just going to put him right back out on the street. And of course, he knows that too now.
Yeah, and they don't want Winthorpe back because he's obviously not good enough anymore because he's had to do.
Well, I think Mortimer does want him back, doesn't he?
No, I don't think Mortimer wants him back. I think Randy thought that. Oh no, he's still a decent guy. One of them didn't want him back. They're
they argued over it.
Yep, and they don't want to do anything before the crop report comes out. They don't want to shake anything up because that's a big day for them that's going to be coming up on the trading floor. But one thing that I did find, kind of interesting, and it's showing, how Eddie Murphy has gone more towards Winthrop's role is that, he makes the comment that, well, he can afford the drugs. Why, let's not, do anything nice for the guy. He doesn't need, obviously he's down and out on his luck, but, if he can afford drugs, he can afford, food and things like that. So, he's definitely turning back towards the prim and proper and, away from the streets, if you will.
But if it's not gross enough eating the salmon and the way that he looks, I love that he's on the street and a dog comes up and literally pees on him.
Right.
That is so funny. And I mean, it's so bad. Not only does he turn to crime, but he actually tries to kill himself. Mm-hmm. And this is hilarious. I mean, it's not, he's trying to kill himself, but he puts a gun in his head, pulls the trigger, and nothing shoots. So he throws the gun away, and then it shoots and goes off when it hits the ground.
You can hear it off to the side. So that, that's where, a lot of people who talked about how much this movie is loved is it's a throwback to like the 30s and 40s, like slapstick comedies and having that little scene in there. I get a giggle out of it every single time.
That is such a great gag. It's hilarious that it shoots on the he can't even kill himself right.
You can hear it ricochet in the distance.
But he's not done. He takes a whole bunch of pills and he tries to kill himself back at Ophelia's and Billy Ray and Ophelia find him and take him home and they nurse him back. Tells him the whole story, although he tries to choke him first. It was the Dukes. It was the Dukes. And so they realize they got to be a team and they come up with a plan to get the Dukes back and Billy Ray and Winthorpe are now a team and they've got Ophelia and they get Coleman in on it. And this is where the movie gets even better.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a couple things towards the end here that are a little questionable, but here's the thing. I don't know why, maybe he didn't know why the hell would Beeks put himself on this train. Like, this is the craziest effing train that I've ever seen. I don't know if this is the one that Ozzy was singing about in Crazy Train. I mean, everybody's in costume. You've got, lots of drinking and everything going on. It's New Year's Eve. You've got a gorilla being transported as well. It's absolutely nuts. So I don't know why you would put himself, like, why wouldn't you take, if these crop reports are this valuable, like, rent a car and drive,
So, yeah, but they know he's on there. And so they're on there to try to switch these reports and give a false one. And Eddie Murphy comes in as this exchange student, and he's hilarious. Yep. And then Jamie Lee Curtis comes in looking really good with her little pigtails and acting like she's from Sweden, even though it doesn't even match what she's dressed as. None of it makes any sense. But
she can't do a German accent. That's why she's from Sweden now, because she can do a Swedish accent, which is great.
Questionable, of course. Aykroyd comes in blackface, but it's a disguise, and Billy Ray's in on it. Like, he's part of the plan. So whatever. I mean, it's
as long as one black person's fine with it, they'll all be fine.
There's no ill
will
meant by it, as we know in the movie. No. It's part of a disguise, and there's other ways he could have disguised himself. But I do think it's funny because even with that, like, it's not that hard to tell who these people are. And you got to think Beeks is going to recognize somebody here. I mean, it's pretty bad
He
that
had to
these are their
target
disguises.
Winthorpe specifically, so he had to know what he looked like previously to set him up. So
I don't think the blackface is going to do it.
No, I don't think so.
They are able to switch the reports, though, thanks to him kind of falling for Ophelia there and her putting her boobs in his face and helping to get stuff. But he knows it's them and he holds him at gunpoint. But they do get the reports flipped. And so that all works out.
Yeah. And then, of course, the ape comes in to save the day, ultimately.
Yes. So he ends up, and then Tom Davis and Al Franken are back there, and he chases him through the terrain, and he ends up getting basically. And this is kind of, I mean, this is probably the dumbest part of the movie to me is the whole gorilla part and the fact that he gets thrown in there with the gorilla.
Yep. And all kinds of things happen to poor Beeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. When we get to the stock market, so we got the crop reports switched. We got to have the plan work though. And now this is where how does this work? You just have 1,000 people just yelling at each other and you're writing little things on paper. How does that work? How do you know who's who? Are these like official receipts or it's crazy. I don't understand it. It lasts for 10 minutes and then it ends.
Yeah. So a lot of the extras were actual Wall Street traders for this scene. They tried to do it during business hours, but it was so disruptive that they had to halt, I think it was $6 billion in trading and back off of the scene and then come in and do it on a Saturday. So they said that these traders that were extras for this scene were actually easier on each other than what they would normally be physically on the actual trading floor during a business day. This whole premise is based on Silver Thursday, in which a group of brothers in the commodities market tried to corner the market on silver in the 80s. And it basically crashed the market for silver. But anyway, they wanted to change it, and frozen concentrated orange juice sounds funnier than silver. So they wanted to throw pork bellies and orange juice in there to lighten it up a little bit.
Yeah.
So.
All right. I missed some of that. I lost my connection. So hopefully you made a great explanation of how that all worked.
All right.
And of course, it's done now. They broke them and they got away and they're in the Caribbean.
Yes, we got the Caribbean, looking good and feeling good.
Looking good, Billy Ray. Feeling good, Lewis.
Well, and I just love that, Coleman's there too, right? Like he gets to be living the high life now, and they've got a different servant taking care of them out on the beach. So yeah, I love the way it ends. And you've got Coleman is better off. Everybody's better off. Billy Ray obviously out on the beach, and Winthorpe is doing well too.
Yes. All right. So it's awesome. It's a movie that spans a nice amount of time. I love the time period that it's set. It's got good music in it. It's funny because there's parts of it that, of course, don't age well, but I think the movie ages well. Like if you can say both.
Mm-hmm.
Right. The plot, the story, most of the jokes. It ages very well, and it's very relevant and works at different time periods. There's a couple small things in it that maybe don't, but overall, I don't know. Do you agree with that?
I just love seeing Murphy in an early role here. Thinking this is his second movie role. It doesn't seem like he's new to anything. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. He's a pro.
Just absolutely kills it. That scene in the park with the cops is just amazing. He is in it. He commits fully, and that's the Eddie Murphy that we see in movie after movie after movie. He was polished that early on.
Show a little bit of range too. I mean, because he has to play this, a different type of character once he gets switched into the home. And I mean, he's just great. He's one of those great comic actors that. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm glad he was up for a Golden Globe. That's something.
Yep.
But he probably, and he did. He did eventually get won or nominated for something like. There was a movie a couple years ago.
Dreamgirls. I thought he was he nominated for Dreamgirls?
Although that wasn't really like a comedy like these.
No, but I mean it's in his field of work, and it's nice that he gets accolades. Yes,
he has gotten some accolades, but
yeah,
I think the point I'm making is these types of comedy performances they're not appreciated enough for how hard they are and how good and special you have to be to do that. Like.
Right,
and they should get awards.
You're carrying movies based on your just charisma and ability to make people laugh, and you deserve a lot for that.
That is not easy to do.
Right. I got a couple extra quotes here. If we want to go back for those,
oh, sure.
The scene in Billy Ray's office when Lewis is trying to set him up with the drugs, and of course Billy Ray comes in and. Everybody's in the room, and he picks up the phone to call security, and he goes, "Hello, security?" And that's right when Lewis pulls the gun on him. Merry Christmas! Like, it was just like quick.
And that smile.
He hangs up the phone. I just love how quick the turn is. And then the other one I have is with Beeks. He's calling the Dukes and telling them the plan. He's coming in on this train and da-da-da. So he's at a public phone outside, and a woman's standing there waiting to use the phone. And he's talking to the Dukes. He goes, "Hold on." He looks at the woman, "Fuck off." And then he goes right back to talking.
Yes, that's a good one.
He has no time for anybody, Beeks. He's a very serious guy, and I got no time for anybody else but what I've got going on for business. So, yeah, I love that one.
That it then?
That's what I got for other lines, yeah.
All right. Well, this movie is great because of two great comedic actors. And so our draft tonight, we're going to talk about comedy duos, not teams. Mm-hmm. So we can't have the Three Stooges, can't have anything more than two.
Mm-hmm.
But these are duos who were just fantastic and hilarious together. And it could be that they did a lot of things together, or it could be that they just did like one movie or something that you thought was so great that they, whatever you want. But it's a two-person team. So I have the first pick in this one. And so I got to go with Steve Martin and Martin Short because, I mean, Steve Martin alone is why I would pick this. But between Three Amigos and now Only Murders in the Building and Father of the Bride and I Love Only Murders in the Building, they've been a team, really. And then their show that they did, which I went and watched.
Their show, yeah.
I mean, it's a team for like 40 years. And so, I mean, to me, they're the best.
Yeah. I have them on my list. All right. I'm going to go for the two guys that weren't able to do this movie that we talked about tonight.
Ah, yes.
I'm going to go with Pryor and Wilder.
That was my number 3. Okay. Well, then we had a discussion before about whether this was just movies or TV, and we hadn't said, so it's going to include both. Yep. So my number 2 overall, and they didn't do a lot of stuff together, like on screen, but this is one of the greatest comedy duos of our lifetime with a show that changed our lives. I'm Larry David and Jerry Seinfeld.
Yeah, I was going to put them on my list, but I was like, I should have texted you and asked. But I didn't because I was going mostly movies. I don't know why I made that assumption.
Mine are mostly movies too, but
that is a great pick. Yeah, and I actually looked up to see with the few movies that Jerry had been in, if they were in a movie together so that I could write them down. Oh, that's great. Oh. Okay, so God, there's so many great ones in here, but I'm going to go with Lemon and Mathau.
That's my number 4.
I love them so much in the Two Grumpy Old Men movies. Obviously, they were a duo long before, The Odd Couple, and they've done tons of movies together. But those two in particular, I just love it.
All right. Well, I'm going to go with one, and they could be hit or miss at times, but they are great together, and they've done so many different movies and things together. So I'm going to take Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly.
Yes.
Even though my favorite John C. Reilly thing is him alone and Walk Hard.
Yeah. But
when he's with Will Ferrell, they're great.
Well, yeah, I mean, you've got Step Brothers, you got Talladega Nights. Those two just alone is enough to put them high on your list. All right, I'm going to stick with the older pairings here. I'm going Martin and Lewis.
Really?
Yes. Seen a fair amount of their stuff, and then also those. Remember the roast that they would do with Sinatra? Those they were always on the panel with those guys. So yeah, I'm going that route.
Martin I have Dean Martin and Sammy
Sinatra,
Davis.
Sammy Davis. Oh, sure. Yeah, we got that on there for Cannonball Run. Yeah.
Okay. It's a little harder now. I've got some good ones here. I'm trying to decide if I want to go with some of those one-off ones.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to use Steve Martin again, and I'm going to go Steve Martin and John Candy because their chemistry in, even though it's just planes, trains, automobiles, it's just too perfect.
Right. Yeah, they're high on my list.
So memorable and so perfect, and so I'm going to go with that.
Good call. Well, and I'm going to do the same thing here because I've said over and over again, minute for minute, I think it's the funniest movie ever made, and
Jim
that's
Carrey and Jeff Daniels.
That's correct for Dumb and Dumber.
Yep, I have that one high up on my one-off list. Okay, I only got one left now, so which way do I go? Boy, this is tough.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure which one I want to. Screw it. I'm going to go with Murphy and Aykroyd because, again, this movie is that good, and it is because of them together. I don't know. That's the best pick I got. There's a lot of good ones here, but that's the one I'm going with.
Okay. Yeah, there's a lot that I'm going to leave on the table here, and we'll put them on our third list. But if you're going to include television in this, this pairing gets even better with Chris Farley and David Spade.
Yep, TV and movies.
And there's another obvious one you could go with too with that. So
okay, well, I'm going to take for the third list. Then I'm going to go similar to that. I'm going to take Tina Fey and Amy Poehler.
There you go.
And they did movies and TV as well.
Yep. And I'm going to stick with that same line with SNL and movies. I'm going Myers and Carvey.
Yes, that was my... We have very similar lists this time.
Mm-hmm.
All right, then I'm going to go with a movie that we've discussed on the show at the beginning of this year. And that is another great pairing, a boy and a girl, Billy Crystal and Meg Ryan.
Oh, very nice. All right. And to finish my picks up, I'm going to go with a pairing that played multiple characters in these movies. I'm going with Murphy and Arsenio Hall.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and then they've done more than one movie together, too, because they're both in Harlem Nights, right?
Yes, they both, Hall's way less in that movie. I mean, it's more Pryor and Murphy, which were great as well. But, I'm going Murphy and Hall.
All right, well, since this is our list for Pete, and I don't know who exactly to pick here, I'm going to go with another male-female pairing that's dear to all of us, Chevy Chase and Beverly D'Angelo.
Oh, wonderful. I like that. I like how you finished that up on, during the holiday season as well.
That's right.
Yeah. Very good.
Okay. I got a lot more here.
Go ahead.
So the one that I wanted to pick for my list, but I went with a little more common ones, a little under the radar, Rose Byrne, who is my favorite woman, and Seth Rogen.
Okay, those two for Neighbors.
So they did 2 Neighbors movies, and there's a show on Apple TV now called Platonic.
Oh.
And they are wonderful together. And she is so funny, and I love her. And I like him a lot, but he's good with her. I got Kristen Wiig and Bill Hader. Those two play off each other great.
Yep.
I got Jon Favreau and Vince Vaughn.
I thought you might pick them.
Yeah, I mean, for swingers, maybe because it's a little less. It's not less comedy, I guess. I don't know. But then they did Maid as well, and they've done a lot of writing together. Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes, Jay and Silent Bob.
Yep.
Matt Stone and Trey Parker.
Oh God, I can't believe we didn't.
Where are we at without them?
Yeah.
Here's one if I wanted to go back a little bit in time to one of my first favorite duos, Burt Reynolds and Dom DeLuise.
Yes.
So we talked about Cannonball Run earlier this year too.
Yep.
Here's one I thought you would pick. Is this on your list? Donald Faison and Zach Braff.
Again, I was looking more movies.
All right.
Yeah, so I did not have them on the list. Love that. I love that pairing, though. Obviously.
Yeah, and then Key and Peele.
Greatest television romance in history is Zach Braff.
Couple more here. One-offs. Dan Aykroyd and Tom Hanks in Dragnet. We've done that movie. I love that movie, and I think they're great together. Dan Aykroyd is great with everybody. He's on my list 3 times for different people. Another kind of under the radar one. I love these two, Leslie Mann and Paul Rudd. Leslie Mann and Rose Byrne are like my top 2 Hall Pass women. But Paul Rudd and her, This Is 40, Knocked Up. They're great. Jason Segel and Paul Rudd. I Love You, Man, and Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Yes.
Eugene Levy and Catherine O'Hara, Schitt's Creek and SCTV.
Yep.
And then finally, Cliff and Norm. George Wendt and John Ratzenberger.
Very nice.
Cheers.
Very nice.
And I cut a bunch off, but those are the ones. And of course, there's Laurel and Hardy, and but I don't, Right. If you're going to pick the most famous ones, sure, but they're not ones I know much about. Abbott and Costello, I could have put them on my list, but
I just didn't watch their stuff. So of course, those are the first ones you think of, But
before anybody says, "Oh my God, these guys are stupid," I mean, they're on my radar. I know them, but we didn't watch them. We don't know them that well.
Right. Yeah, I didn't know him that well. All right, I got a few other ones. Like you said, you had Aykroyd on your list a few times. I got Chase and Aykroyd for Spies Like Us. I got Aykroyd and Belushi for Blues Brothers. I put also Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson, Wedding Crashers. Love that. Rudolph and Wig is my pick. Bridesmaids is absolutely amazing. And then I also have Robin Williams and Nathan Lane. I'm a big fan of The Birdcage. And then my last one is Simon Pegg and Nick Frost. Hot Fuzz, Shaun of the Dead, The World's End. They're kind of a duo that do their movies together, and I get a kick out of them, so I put them on my list.
Yes, so that's a good one to add.
That's everything I got on my list.
All right. Well, that pretty much closes out season 5. It ends the fiscal year.
Yes,
right?
It does.
But we will have one episode for sure. We'll put out some good ones, but we'll have one episode that's new in January. So I've been doing my countdown of my 100 favorite songs on the socials for the last 3 months or so here. We're gonna finish it off with an episode counting down the top 10 and probably hitting on some of the other ones as well. So I think that's gonna be a lot of fun, and you'll be a good sport with that. It's a nice way to do something easy during our off time.
That's exactly right. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So
and then we'll be back.
Yeah. So I hope everybody has a wonderful New Year's. Come back and listen to us again in January to finish off this season before we get into season 6 of Pop Culture Yearbook. So it'll be good. Say, Brad.
Yeah.
Do you know who had one of their biggest hits was 80s Boobs?
80s Boobs. Well,
yeah,
clearly that was Preacher Row.
Yeah. It's a good one. Very nostalgic.
Yeah. So. We're all nostalgic for that. Okay,
bye. Everybody. Bye.